create a life where they just grow up thinking, this is what we do.
And it's like, oh man, I wish I knew this stuff sooner.
Like I tell people all the time, you tell me your habits, I'll tell you your future.
That sounds crazy, but all of your life is habits.
It creates part of their identity. It becomes so normal and natural.
All of a sudden one day you wake up and it's like you've shot away from whatever you were.
Once you get into it, then you get on that side where you're like, your body physically misses it.
Really wish that I had learned this when I was younger. I wish that, my dad would have done these things.
You build it into their identity and their way of being, and it makes it so much easier for them to follow that path. Gentlemen, welcome to the Formidable Family Man podcast. I'm your host, Greg Denning, and super stoked today to have Nate Feathers back. He's become a friend, and I reached out to him and said, brother, let's get on and have more conversations about the journey to being the best dads we can be. So super stoked to have you back, brother, and have a fun conversation today.
Yeah, man, glad to be here for sure.
So I thought today, man, that we would share just some, like the simple stuff, the daily things, daily routines, daily rhythms, daily rituals. I'm sure for you, as for me, like some of the things we get into maybe even years ago, they become automatic and we just kind of forget. It's like, oh, those are the things that keep me happy, keep me sharp, keep me focused. And so I get a question all the time. You probably do too. It's like, well, what should I be doing? Or how do I, that's what I get. I'm like, how do I remember to do that? Of course I want to do it. How do I actually do it?
Yeah.
And it's just been on my mind last couple of weeks. I'm like, man, these rhythms make all the difference.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I totally agree. I think that if you can make, like, everything we do is habits, right? So, I mean, really, if you can just change the habit to the things that benefit you or benefit your family, that's really what you're looking to do. It's like maybe just pick one and just hone in on it. I'm going to get up at this time of the day, and that's all I'm focused on at this moment. That sounds crazy, but I mean, all of your life is habits. If you really take 1 week and just sat and looked at yourself and tried to be aware, you're like, oh my gosh, I go to the same place, I do the same thing, and I mean, the thing I'm thinking is the guy who gets up at the last minute. This is the stuff I used to do in college. Get up at the last minute, throw some clothes on, run out the door. That's still a habit, right? You're still in habit mode because that's just your habit, is that you get up as late as possible because you want to sleep, and you sleep in, you hit the snooze, and then you're sprinting out the door. It's like maybe you kiss your wife goodbye, maybe you say bye to your kids, that kind of thing. That's still all habits. So really, I mean, I feel like just figuring out how to change. Oh, all right, I'm going to move my clock back at 6:00 to 5:30, and I'm gonna not hit the snooze. I'm gonna move the clock or move my phone, whatever it is, so that I have to get out of bed. That's all I'm gonna do, and that way, at least I can get some coffee and sit down and be awake for a minute and not feel like my whole day just is coming crashing in on me.
Exactly. Like I'm just chasing and always behind.
Yes.
Bro, I love that. Even 30 minutes of just be still. Just take some breaths. Just chill. Just like, okay, I'm alive and I'm not chasing something. Just that would be
Yeah.
amazing. And then
It-
like working into maybe reading something, do some prayer meditation, some breath work, move your body if you move into that. But those kind of, I love how you said that, brother. Those kind of habits that we automate, like they become a powerful force to move our lives in the direction we want it to go.
Yeah. And I love the slight edge, how it talks about like you can have habits that will get you like that kind of, it's like a hockey stick, right? It doesn't seem like it's moving the needle very hard. And then all of a sudden one day you wake up and it's like you've shot away from whatever you were. And those work both directions. Like you could spiral down and you could
Exactly.
spiral up. It's not like both work and both are slow, like that slow progress. Not working out today doesn't change your body composition, but not working out every day for a year
Keep that
completely
up,
changes
bro.
your body.
It's gonna
Yeah,
hit you
right.
hard. And you wake up one morning and be like, crap, I'm really out of
What in the
shape.
world? You're like, I'm jiggly. I don't want to be this way.
Or even worse, you try to pick up a kid or something or try to help and you can't.
Mm-hmm.
I had
Mm-hmm.
a friend, I have a friend and a coaching client, but he went hiking. He came over here to visit us in Portugal and he went hiking with us along this cliff. It was gorgeous. There was just one, there was one hillside. We were out there with our families. and he had to stop like 3 or 4 times on the way up, and he hadn't been tested because he was so busy running his business, running the family and stuff. It's a good dude, great businessman, but he's like he was mad. He was mad. He's like, "The fact that I had to stop like 3 or 4 times on that, it pissed him off." So he went home and got in shape, dude. It's awesome. Now he's like running hills. He's like and so that's his new habit. He did exactly what he's saying. He started getting up earlier and just walking out the door and running. And so that's the new norm,
Yeah. No,
right?
it's amazing.
Changes everything.
It does. I feel like even just I feel like maybe it is just the getting up early, like, the quiet time. I know it's coming down to the end of the day for you, but for me, it's like the start. It's still dark out, right? But it's like when no one's awake, I love it. And it's not because I don't want anybody around. It's just because there's no one asking for anything. You're just at peace. And honestly, for guys who are just starting, even if you fall back asleep in your chair because you just sat there, I think it's okay. Like suggesting just start it and then go to sleep again. But like if you were to get up and just breathe, if you drink coffee or tea or whatever you do, make it just sit for a minute, you're gonna feel different. And then, like you said, add in something. Maybe send some gratitude text, like text your buddy, man, dude, I'm just glad we're friends. Whatever. You're just starting something new. And I mean, I definitely agree with you on the working out thing. That's been something for me for the past what 8 9 years. That's really been a big time thing that I feel like changes so much. So if you
Yep.
start getting up, do that, you're really gonna start to see a major shift.
And do you work out in the mornings?
I try to, yeah, yeah. I've had these
Same.
it's weird, I've had these weird headaches that I get real bad, recently, and everybody talks to they're like, "You should probably go get that checked." And I'm like, "Yeah, I can't figure out what it is." It's like, it'll be like water. I didn't drink enough water the day before. Now I have a headache in the morning, or I didn't get enough rest. Now I have a headache in the morning. Maybe I didn't eat enough, whatever it is. And so, working out, it used to be like every day, I would barely take days off. But I will say that that started to cause me to be like, "Okay, I gotta dial that back." And then I started working out a little bit later in the day. I will say, if I don't work out, I feel it. It's
Feel
become
it.
so part of me that
Yes.
I can't not do it. It drives me crazy.
Yes, 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 and
Yeah.
that's for the guys who are, like, trying to get into it. Once you get into it, then you get on that side where you're like, your body physically misses it, your mind, your brain misses it when you miss your
Yeah.
workouts, but you gotta earn that. So our family and I used to go to the gym, and I actually loved going to the gym, but then, the more kids we have so for new listeners, I have 7 kids. And Nate, how many kids do you have, bro?
I have 6. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is
So big
definitely the
families.
podcast for guys who wanna have babies.
So it's like you keep adding kids, you're like, "Bro, I gotta find time here." And I
Yeah,
realized,
right?
15 minutes gym, 15 minutes back, I'm 30 minutes. I'm like, "I can get a workout in 30 minutes." So I started
Yeah.
buying my own equipment, and now we have our place here. We have a phenomenal gym, but we work out as a family. And I didn't just start doing that once we had a gym. I did it when we had no equipment. And I would drop down push-ups, and the little ones would crawl over and crawl on me. I'm like, "Okay, I'll do
Yeah.
push-ups with kids on my back. I'll do air squats with kids on my shoulders. I'll bicep curls these little ones, and they just are giggling, and I'm burning, like, because I wanted it to be a family culture.
Yeah.
Like, I
I love
wanted my kids to have those habits. Because, like you were talking about earlier, man, um, like I tell people all the time, "You tell me your habits, I'll tell you your future." Habits are literally the building block of your life. So we look at our own habits as men, but then, like, "Wait a minute, what are the ones I want my kids to still start them early?" Used to have little
yeah.
ones, and my youngest just turned 9, but she's out there every day with us in the gym,
I
and it's
love that.
just
I
like,
love that.
this is how life is,
Yeah.
right? You
Yeah,
get
that's
them
awesome.
involved. Yeah.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit more about that because the one thing that because I started doing that and I feel the same way. Like I was really big into CrossFit. I was coaching and then the box moved, which is totally like I love the people there. I love the community. Like, but it was a 20-minute drive there, 20-minute drive back, and I felt the same way. And every time I went when there because I had keys to the box because I was one of the coaches. There were times where I would go in the middle of the day when they didn't have class. And if the kids were home, they wanted to go. And we're talking now you got free reign of an entire gym.
Bro.
So they loved it. Yeah, dude, they
Yeah.
loved it. And I mean, I have video of them doing deadlifts like and all this fun stuff. they may or may not have been doing exactly what I was doing, but they were working out, and they would say, like, every time they'd ask, they'd be like, "So, can we go to the gym with you?" They would ask, "Is anybody gonna be there?" Because if somebody's there, then they have to go to the kids' room, and they can't really be part of it and all that. And if it was a class. But when I would go alone, they wanted to be in on it. So I did the same thing. I mean, I basically last year, I built the gym in the garage. We painted it all and got it all set up, and then, I mean, I bought a rig or I got a rig and I got the weights, all the things, and I started working out. The one thing that got me nervous was that, they like, the younger they are, the less they pay attention, and so sometimes I'm doing heavy weight and they are like, the youngest will come up and be underneath me. So what did you do to, like, really the safety part of that to keep them safe? Because my kids really do wanna do that, but it makes me nervous at times to let all 4 of them into the garage at the same
Right?
time, and, like,
Absolutely.
all 4
Yeah,
of the
I
littles.
went through that same thing. And to be honest, like, you'll be doing curls, and they start running when it's up, and they
Mhm.
happen to get there when you're going down. You're like, "Ding." And
Yeah.
so we learned about that, like, the way we have our gym setups, like, the heavy equipment is in one section, and I'm
Mhm.
constantly reminding the little ones. It's like, "Hey, guys, over here," like, the running, the playing, the roughhousing, the goofing out, like, the goofing off is not over in this section. And
Right.
so then they're over on the mats, and they're playing their games and then doing the push-ups and pull-ups, all that stuff. But where we have the heavy weights, yeah, we just I just keep reiterating until they realize,
Yeah.
"Hey, this zone is not for kids and not for goofing
Yeah.
around." Yeah,
Yeah. I will say, like, I love that because it helps it helps get them in the mindset of that this is fun and good, but also there are things we have to do to make sure everybody stays safe, like
exactly.
self-awareness, like a situational awareness. I love that. I will say the youngest, he's just under 2. He'll be 2 in February, and
He's
he
not gonna
is
understand.
no,
He's
he didn't
just
get any of
like,
that. I mean,
"Whatever."
yeah. So I will say, I'm like, "Okay, back up, buddy," because 'cause I'll, like, go to deadlift or, like, do some RDLs or whatever, and his whole thing is, I'll grab the bar, but, you lean down, and so he leans up to give me a kiss. So before I start a set, like, I usually get a kiss from the little one, and
Yeah.
then we
Right,
start the
you
set.
break up,
Almost
buddy.
every set is that way.
Exactly.
So at least he knows there's something situational there that he's like, "Okay,
Yeah,
dad's about to start."
exactly. And it, like, you guys, for those of you listening, like, and I'm sure you've experienced it, like, it creates part of their identity. It becomes so normal and natural that they grow up, and here's what, for at least for us, this is what has absolutely worked. Create a life where they just grow up thinking, "This is what we do.
Mhm.
We read great books. We eat good food. We work out, 5 days a week. These are the things." So it's built in automatic, and it's funny, your kids get older and they start meeting people, and then they're like, "Wait, what? You guys don't work out as a family?" Like like, "Wait, what? How's that even, you don't read? What's going on?" And so you build it into their identity and their way of being, and it makes it so much easier for them to follow that path towards their own greatness.
Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, and I don't know about you, but it's so funny because the older I get and the more I want to learn myself and the more I look back and go, "Wow, really wish that I had learned this when I was younger. I wish that, my dad would have done these things and now I'm doing them, but now I'm doing them as a dad." So I'm learning them while my kids are growing. Like, I'm not learning fast enough to give them all the things I want them to have, and it's all sorts of stuff that I think it matters, but it may not matter as much as I make it matter in the sense of like, oh, I want to know jujitsu and I want to know how to,
Same,
clean guns
same.
and take them apart, put them together. I want to know how to shoot. Probably should learn how to use a crossbow or a bow and arrow. I'm like, I need to be able to do all of these things. I need to be this as I mean, you're
Same,
perfect for
bro.
your
I'm
podcast,
totally
but
the same.
I wanna be a formidable man, and then I'm like, "But I need my sons to be that way. I haven't learned that yet." Now they're watching me learn, and it's like, "Oh, man, I wish I knew this stuff sooner,"
Yeah.
you know?
What you and I are both doing, because yeah, I grew up the same way. Like, when my dad split, stepdads came and went. Like, I didn't. Nobody taught me any of that stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm in my 30s and my 40s. I'm like, gosh, I'm just picking this crap up. But now watching our kids, right? Your oldest is 21, mine's 23.
Mhm.
Watching
Yeah.
our older kids, they're already comfortable with those things.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they
Yeah.
already have this awareness, even around like mindsets, business skills and ideas, and self defense. They're already there.
Mhm. It's awesome.
Bro, now my
It's so
grandkid,
awesome.
they're gonna have the advantage. Like,
Totally
it's
true.
gonna be huge.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, man. It's like, and this is not in a bad way. I totally envy my oldest right now. Not in a, oh, I wish I had what you have. I just mean, dude, he's at this point where he's like, all right, I'm trying to learn this, I'm trying to learn that. I'm going to do this business. I mean, it's so funny to feel like, and I will say this for the guys who have kids that are in their teens, it didn't feel like he ever wanted to be anything like me. I actually told him yesterday, I was like, I kind of feel like sometimes you didn't like stuff because I liked it. And I'll be like, you just didn't want to like what dad likes. And now we are so similar that he's got to that point where he's like, Dad, you're right. And I'm like, finally, we're to the point where we're not
Win!
pushing. Yeah, right. We got the win because he wants to do. He doesn't want to be like me. He wants to do his thing, but he still has all of those things that he's, like you said, comfortable with. The other day, he was like, yeah, I'm so sick of my friends like they have to have the weekend off. He's like, I don't get it. Like, what is this weekend off thing? Like, it's today. Like, Saturday's just another day. He's like, yeah, maybe we go to church on Sunday, but Sunday's just another day. He's like, why wouldn't I work out? Why wouldn't I do my thing on those days? And I was like, oh my gosh, I love this so much right now.
Yes. That's proud moment. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
love it when it starts to click. Yep.
yeah, it's huge. It's really
Well,
huge.
and kudos to you, brother, for earning respect. Like, that's one thing I could never get tired of talking about that as
Mhm.
fathers. We
Yeah,
earn respect by our results because results don't lie.
yeah,
And so if we're getting
exactly.
the results and we're not being losers or jerks or unpleasant people, but we're getting the results and we're striving to be good men, the kids notice, bro. They're watching and paying attention. And then they come back and like, so like you said, he's like, I don't have to be exactly like you, but I want to be like you. I want to get the results you're getting. I want to
Yeah,
do the things that you're doing that work.
yeah,
And
yeah, absolutely.
that's the biggest win as a dad.
Yeah, and I think the thing about our daily habits, and it just clicked, is that if you think about what a lot of guys want specifically, and when I think about this, I think a lot of times about sons, and I have so much more connection to them just because I know the life they're living, even in their youth. You know what I mean? Like we grew up as boys, so we get it, and so I have that. But uh, I remember thinking like, I grew up watching Michael Jordan. You want to be like Mike. You want to be able to do what he can do, right? But you never ever saw what he did to be able to do what he could do on the court, right? You didn't see all the work behind the scenes. I wanted to have lots of money, and you'd look at rich people and see their cars, and you'd be like, I want that car, and my son is still talking just like that. But you didn't see what it took to get there, right? You didn't. The reason we don't have what certain people have is because we didn't do what they were willing to do. We didn't sacrifice what they were willing to sacrifice. And as dads, they get to see all of the work, all of the daily stuff that w makes us have what we have, right? So,
Exactly.
you know, everyone talks about, like, the Cinderella I think about fights because I used to fight, but it's like fighters are, like, they just come out of nowhere. No fighter ever just came out of nowhere. That fighter was in the gym, in the dark, constantly doing his work, and when the opportunity came, he had done all sorts of work to get to that point to win that fight, to be
He
the
earned
guy
it.
who just showed up out of nowhere. And our kids get to watch the other side of that with us, right? I think that's what earns the respect you're talking about, is they get to watch the daily mornings where they wake up and dad's already in the gym, or the daily mornings where they get up and dad's already reading books. He's already sitting there doing things, or they're seeing his nightly routine and they're like, that's how, and when they're like, why do you always do this? You can be like, well, this is what makes the champion. The champion just doesn't show up. You don't get to just have it. You have to work for it, and this is the work that you do. And I think that's the great part about being a dad is that they see your habits, and if they see your results, they're like, "Oh, those habits get me these results," and that's what makes them want to follow. I think. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, they start making that connection. The temptation is that, like, these good men who are out working hard, they they wanna come home, and when I hear it, they're like, "Oh, I just need some downtime. I wanna unwind. I just need to check out." And unfortunately, like, that's, like, prime time when your kids are awake and your kids are watching, and you're like, "TV, video games." sitting around, and so that's when we lose a lot of influence and a lot of respect if we give into those temptations to just take it easy. And even if we're like, "Oh, no, I was up early, I was doing hard things," but then they see you and experience you just, what I say, leveling off, right?
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
very often, guys get into their late 30s, early 40s or 50s, and instead of continuing to level up, they start leveling off. And so right when your kids are becoming teens and starting to really notice, they're noticing entertain yourself more and put on weight and take it easy, and it's the opposite of what you were just talking about.
Exactly, exactly. And how sad though that we have a tendency to blame that on age. You know, I don't know how long ago it was. It wasn't that long ago. I mean, maybe a year or 2 ago, I heard that our like, we always blame the metabolism. "Oh, my metabolism slows down as you get older." And I heard that it's total bunk. You know, like, your metabolism hits at 20, and that makes total sense because when you're watching kids grow between the age of, like, birth and 1, kid changes like crazy, and then they're growing and they're getting to like, that's where their metabolism is on fire. That makes total sense because their body is always growing and figuring it out. Once you stop growing, that's kinda where your metabolism, like, levels off. That's at 18, not you don't, like, it doesn't keep slowing down, no, you got more sedentary, which means that your body doesn't need as much energy, but you keep
Exactly.
consuming the
It's
same amount of food
you!
and
It was your
yeah.
habits! Exactly. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's totally that, and you're right, like, right about the time people start to get comfortable, and I love that leveling off. That's when the kids are watching the most. It's like, like,
And
just
then that's things really sink in for the kids because
yes.
they become cognizant now. Like, their
Yeah.
awareness of life is right there, and you never want that to be that point where they start paying attention and you start leveling off. Oh,
Oh,
just leads to
yeah.
disaster. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
let's share, like, at the beginner stage, just get up 30 minutes earlier, just
Yeah, yeah,
sit
yeah.
there and be peaceful. Some guys I know listening to this are like, "Hey, I'm already hitting it. I'm going, like, how can I optimize?" But let's share. I'll share some things, you share some things, like, what are you reading? What are you writing?
Mm,
What are you listening to while you're driving? Like, what are some of the things you're implementing that just help you stay sharp and stay on your A game?
yeah. So, the number one thing I've been reading most recently, this is crazy because I mean, I grew up in the church, is the Bible, and I've turned back to reading it, understanding that God's like, "Hey, I made all this, so I can tell you how it works," and that's how I'm reading it. Is this is God just telling me this is how it works, and so I'll read and just I'm big into the history of it and the culture of the times and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff I'll try and understand from that aspect of it, but just reading the Bible as this is I heard a song back in the day, it was called Basic Instructions for Before Leaving Earth, the Bible, and it was like that acronym. And I'm like, I love that. God's like, I'm not just telling you about me and telling you about what I did. I'm telling you how I created things to work. And if you follow that, things work. That doesn't mean you won't have hard times. So Bible's been the number one move on this one. I tend to not listen to music anymore. In my 20s and even 30s, music was all I listened to when I was driving and now it's all podcasts.
Yep.
It's all there's so much out there that you can listen to that can make you so much better and give you insight into something new. And so, there's this guy, I think he's in his 30s, but it's, Chris Corner, The Corner Office.
Mm,
That's been
haven't
the
heard of it.
podcast I've been listening to the most. He does, like, side hustles and businesses and then starts them, but we're talking, like, this isn't a side hustle where you make a couple $100. It can be, but he's turned side hustles into main hustles and into, like, all of that, and I love that because I don't want to be the guy that goes into I don't wanna do a 9 to 5. I was saying before we started that, this is my busy season because I do Christmas lights, but I own the company, and I started it with 3 clients, and now we're at 150, and it's a full-on show, man, and we're talking you're looking at big end clients wanting lots of things, spending days at I was at a house for 2 days, stuff like that, it's huge, and so I love that, and so I'm listening to this because that's a seasonal business. How else can I add it? I was listening to him, this is crazy, I was listening to him on September 5th, and by September 21st, I had started another business that kinda matched in on the Christmas lights, and I'm like I was already doing delivery. I'd already, like, reached out and started it, And, success loves speed. So it was like, let's just go and do it. Like I've already got the
Yes.
connections to some level. And so I've been listening to the corner office a lot recently just to kind of gather ideas on I'm a starter. I love the starting of businesses. I love pushing it and see what we can get. So,
Yeah.
I connect with
Man,
him a lot on that.
I gotta just extra emphasis on what you said there because input determines output.
Hmm.
And so if we have a regular flow of input, you'll catch that spark like what happened to you in September. Boom,
Yeah.
whoa, I could do that. I could add this,
Yeah.
I could pivot, I could make a new offering, or I
Yeah.
could improve what I'm doing and boom, you start it, execute, and there's another stream of
Yeah.
income or another
It's
level.
crazy, and the number one thing I would tell people on that is I didn't have the product. I mean, it coincides really well with Christmas lights. It's porch decoration for, like, fall, right? So, like, pumpkins on your porch and things like that, and so it coincided really well, and it made it easy, but I had no idea where to get any of the stuff. I'm not a pumpkin farmer, like, it's not like I had all this stuff on hand. I just was like, "I'm gonna do that, and if someone says yes, I'll figure it out," and that's literally what
Yes.
happened. Like, I had people say yes, and I was like, better find a farm."
Uh, awesome. I love that.
Yeah, so
So,
yeah. Tell me a
like,
little
I
bit about
wanna
what you're doing as well.
well, that's what and I'll share what I'm doing in this habit I have, but you guys, this I can't emphasize this enough. This regular flow of books, podcasts, ideas, conversations makes all the difference. And I remember going through this process myself, and I've heard lots of guys say, "Well, how do you, if I read a book, how do I implement it? I don't want to read too fast." I've gotten to a part where I'm like, just have a steady flow every single day. Like, miss a meal if you have to, but never miss some input every day. Like, listen to something, and they're doing it right now by listening to this. So kudos to you guys. But listen to something every single day because it's just sparking ideas and reminders. And so many cool things that we already know, we just forget. It's out of sight, out of mind. You're going along, you get busy, and you just forget. So constantly listening to something, you're like, oh yeah, I gotta take my wife out every week. I can't miss taking my wife on a date, right? And it's these reminders of those things. I read I read business books in the morning. Well, actually, I'm with you. I do Bible study
Yeah.
in the mornings, and I'm geeking out about the history and the culture and like the layers of meaning, and we share it with my kids, and we do our little morning devotional. We talk about it, and I just restarted a book called The Genius of Jesus. It is so good. So
Yeah.
I'm going through that one again. I love it. So I'll listen to books like that. And then I'll get into business books, personal development. And then at night, I book in my days. I start my day with some input from a great book, and I finish my day in bed reading a great classic. So I'm reading Plutarch's Lives,
Mhm.
the great classic. I read a little bit of that every night, and then I started. So my all time favorite book is Les Miserables by Victor Hugo.
Okay.
But forever I wanted to read it in the original French. And so I've been
Wow.
working on French, and I've gotten
Nice.
there enough where I'm reading Les Mis in French as he wrote it.
Dude, that's
Um,
awesome. I love
it's
that, man.
so cool. It's challenging me mentally for the language, but also it's one of the best books ever written.
Now, let
And
me ask you
then
something on that
yeah,
because, a lot of people are like, "Oh, I can't learn languages." And I'm like, "Well, you speak English, so that's like a you can learn." And I have an affinity for language, so a lot of times I'll pick stuff up and it just sticks. I speak Spanish and people are like, "Where'd you learn that?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, 20 years ago, I lived in Costa Rica, and that's where I learned it." And they're like, "And you still" like, I'll be out on a job site or whatever, and I'll say something to somebody in Spanish, and they're like, "The gringo speak Spanish?" That kind of thing, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, like, that's what I did," but it's just sticks. So I have to sometimes say, maybe that's the case. Maybe I just have an affinity for it, and that's okay. But I feel like, and you tell me based on your experience, you feel like learning French, do you feel like it's horribly hard, or you feel like you just putting the time
bro,
in, doing it, and
it's
making it work?
yeah, it's just it's an effort thing. It's a focus thing. So
Yeah.
I made this commitment years ago that every 5 years I'm going to become fluent in a new language.
Dang,
Right?
that's awesome.
So I'm just gonna just crank through the languages because I
Yes.
love connecting with humans and
Yes.
cultures and ideas and their way of being. And so 100%. I love languages. It really
Yeah,
comes down to effort. And so here's my strategy. Well, I'm with you. So I went to Peru, and that's where I learned a la fuerza,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
you in Costa Rica, like you go immerse yourself, you'll learn. It's powerful.
Truth. Yeah, yeah,
The other thing is, um, and you guys, this is mind-boggling awesome. There's about 1,000 words in every language that are the most repeated and most used words. And if you memorize 1,000 words, as soon as you get to that spot, you can comprehend. You may not be able to speak it really well, but you can comprehend 60 to 70% of what's going on. Like, let that sink in. 1,000 words, 70% comprehension. Like, it blows your mind. So then, so then you push the limit. You're like, well, how quickly can a person memorize 1,000 words? You're like, well, so if I came to you and I was like, Nate, $1 million, bro, if you can memorize 1,000 words in the next 10 days, could you
yeah.
do it?
That's happening. Yeah, that's
Dude, it's
happening.
right? You're like, done. That happens.
Yeah,
And so you could be at 70% comprehension in 10 days.
yeah.
So it's not
That's
powerful.
amazing.
So now we don't have to go that intense, but you say, man, what if I do that over the next year? Just memorize 1,000 words. And I use those apps and flashcards and I label
Yeah,
everything in my house and I make it fun with my kids. Boom. It's totally doable. And it is one of the coolest ways to develop that part of your brain. Like learning another
yeah,
language is so unique in mental development, and it's great for kids too. And adults, yeah, we don't have to stop. We do not have to
no, you
stop.
don't. Yeah,
Yeah,
you don't. And it's the same complacency you get with your own body, right? You do it with your mind, and I question so much, like people. And it sounds awful because obviously there is a point at which life ends, but I wonder if our life ends early just because we
we
just
stop.
quit. You know what I mean? We just stop doing anything, and all we do is like consume everything and not produce anything.
100%. In fact, they found, they did this study watching for years and years, it was over several decades, and they watched these people in their lives, the more, they slipped into doing the exact same things the same way all the time, the probabilities of going into dementia, and Alzheimer's and those kind of things and earlier death just
Yeah,
skyrocketed. So
that's
it's like
crazy.
this whole study was like, keep doing new things, learning new things, trying new things because it keeps you alive, literally.
Yeah, I love that. And you know, what's fun is this is a great example. So I was learning Spanish, and I will say I picked up Spanish real easy. So when I was in high school and junior high, we started learning. By the time I got to college, I had friends that were Latino that were like, "How do you do this?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I just learned in school. It just stayed." And so then I would talk with them, but that would like solidify it more. But I was in Japan, and they were having the we were doing some work there, and they were trying to have a conversation, and the Japanese
Wait, what?
instantly, she's like, "Oh my gosh." She had lived in Mexico for 3 years, and so I'm in Japan speaking more Spanish than anything else, and we were able to, like, circumvent the language barrier simply because she popped out a word in
That's
Spanish because she was trying
so
English, and I've
cool.
noticed that when you're like, little kids will do it. They can learn 5 languages simultaneously up to the age of 5 because the brain is just wide open for it, but the crazy part is you can tell they move so fluidly between them that they'll be speaking one language and out comes a different language because they can't think of the word for whatever. Like I want milk,
Right,
and then leche comes out instead,
right,
whatever. And that's what
right.
happened. And what you'll find is that languages have very similar like similarities. And so you'll be speaking another language or learning a new language and be like, wait, I know that because of another language I learned. Especially if you're
Exactly.
learning, like, I mean, there's the romantic languages, like if you're learning French, I know Spanish, Portuguese, and Italian. Those all 4 of those have very similar, well, they all come from Latin. So you could learn 4 languages based off of what you're doing in French, what I'm doing in Spanish. You could learn all 4 languages out of that and be able to learn them faster just because you're like, "Oh, I know that word. I know what that is."
Exactly.
I think
So
that's
it
what's cool
increases
too. Is that
yes, 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 it increases vocabulary, comprehension,
Mhm.
ideas. It allows you access to more people and more authors, more experiences, movies, music. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it is a cool thing to do and I don't know, just part of I don't know if you're like me, it seems like you are, like, this whole idea of the Renaissance man, of,
Yeah.
Leonardo da Vinci, and it's like, "Bro, let's try all the cool things.
Yeah, right?
Experience as much as we possibly can. And language is one of them, and martial arts is another. I don't know, flying an airplane and driving a boat and operating a skid steer. I love all that stuff.
Yeah.
And shooting guns and, yeah, learning archery.
Yeah.
I just went hunting for the first time with a crossbow. New experience. It's crazy. Um, so it's just, yeah, it's that expansion that makes all the difference, man.
I love that,
Ah, I
man. I
love
love
it.
it.
Love it,
So
love it.
so how far into French are you? That's amazing. I love it.
So, yeah, I'm reading Les Mis and understanding most of it.
That's true.
I'm
You're doing well.
watching movies. I'll pick specific movies to watch. That's harder. Movies
Yeah.
and music are tough to get. But I try to have as many conversations I can. So I'm close. What I need to do is go spend a month in France. Um,
And you're in Portugal, so you're not too
yeah.
far, right?
We're close, man. And we go to Morocco. We go to Morocco every year, and they speak French as a second language. So I get to practice down there. We were down there last time, and our car died in the middle of nowhere. And I didn't speak any Arabic, and nobody around spoke any English. And it was because of French. Like, we were able to get through that whole thing and get it resolved. I was like,
Yeah.
let's go. That was so useful. It was so useful.
I love that. That's
Awesome.
awesome, man.
That's good stuff. Okay. What other things you're doing with your family, brother? Do you guys have weekly, monthly rhythms that just work for you to
Yeah,
keep you and your wife close and you and your kids close?
yeah, I will say that, I think we started doing, club soccer, and I think that actually showed me the rhythms that we have that I don't wanna lose, is to be honest, because we would literally have to go pick up kids, and we don't homeschool. We have a school that is we have a private school we send our kids to that is, we call it like a farm school. They get to do a lot of cool stuff on there, and it's definitely a shift from public school because my older 2 went to public school. I wasn't there yet, and so now I'm like, "Can we just get them home? Like, just have them around us all the time." But,
Mhm.
when we would pick them up from school and go directly to the soccer field, and I would take snacks with us, and I'd basically pick up the boys and do that, and they would practice. Both boys were on 2 different teams, so it was like practice, and then the other one would practice.
Oof.
So, dude, I'm telling you, my number one complaint about it, and I know, like, you get into the weekend and you see, all these families, and it's like the same exact vehicle. Everybody's got the same exact wagon that they're pulling with all the stuff for the kids in it, and you're out on these fields and you're there all day. And I don't know how many dads are out there being like, "This is insane. Why are we doing this?" But I mean, it took away 2 nights a week where we had family dinners, and that is huge to me.
That's
Family dinner
big.
is huge. So it took away family dinner 2 nights a week. It took away, the weekend, it took away the connection, just the normal, like, slowdown of connections, and then, we were running everywhere, and there were good things they were learning, but I think the number one thing it exposed the way we live that's so different from the world around us.
Mhm.
And, the number one things I could say is that it took so much time, that we weren't cooking dinner together on the weekends, we weren't cooking dinner together 2 nights a week. That is so bothersome. This weekend is their last set of games, and I love what they've gotten in the sense that they've gotten better at soccer and things like that, but I'm really struggling with letting them do it again, and they're gonna want to, but I'm really struggling with it only because I'm like, "Yes, but it takes away from the things that I say and I believe are uber
Yep.
important over and above soccer." And
Ooh.
I'm not the guy that goes, "Oh, my kids are they're not gonna do," like, I'm not gonna be the guy that's gonna say, "Oh, they're not gonna be the next Messi," because they could be. But if they were out in the backyard, like, doing headers and, like, juggling, and they're like, "Dad, I just juggled 1,000 times," like, outside of soccer, I'd be like, "This kid's probably gonna wanna play soccer," right? But they're not doing that. When they're done, they wanna go do normal kid things, and so they just don't have the drive to play like that, which is totally fine too. But it's telling me that why am I putting time, effort, money, and giving away things that are important to me to that when I know that it's not really gonna take them where I want them to go. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And
Yes,
so
yes,
I
yes.
would
That's a
say
perfect
it's
example. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I would say the things that we do that are rhythmic are dinners together. That is huge. The dinner table is so important to me. Um, I think there's too much that we can lose if we I should say it this way, there's too much you can gain if you just eat dinner together. That's massive for us.
And, well, you can add breakfast too if your schedule allows it or the
That's
kid's
true.
schedule allows it. Like, meals together and just time together is a game changer. The way that hit me years ago one time, a similar situation to you, I was like, "Hey, wait a minute. Everything we're saying yes to has an exchange rate. It has a cost."
Mm, mhm.
And so you're like, "Well, what's the exchange rate of the kids being in soccer?" Because there are benefits, there's great things. You're like, "Hey, if this starts" or whatever, it could be ballet or art or whatever it is. It's like when it
Yeah.
starts to pull away too much from the family, when the exchange rate or the cost gets too high, we've gotta start saying no. And it's interesting, we live in such an interesting time. I think one of the biggest problems that families are facing is they're saying yes to too many things.
Totally agree
And
with
so
that.
we gotta start putting stuff on the chopping block and just get big back down to time together, just living and being.
Yeah,
We're
absolutely.
so but too busy, way too
Yeah,
busy.
yeah. It's a keeping up with the Joneses thing, and that's I think that's the part that's hard is that, it's not keeping up with the Joneses isn't just your house and your car. It's kids playing soccer on and the weekend thing. It's all of that. And I think that there's a massive feeling that we're supposed to fit in to this idea of culture. But if you that's I mean, do that if you want to be average, I guess. And I don't say that to be mean, but if you want to be
Dude,
average, do the average things, right?
exactly. If you wanna be like everybody else, do what everybody else is doing. If you want the same
Right.
results, just keep on that path.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that when you look at it, there's again, this whole soccer thing has had me and my wife has had to deal with me being like, "Yeah, I don't like this. This doesn't work for me." Like, she's had to deal with it the whole season, and we paid for the whole year, so there's another season we're supposed to do, and I'm just going, "I think I'm willing to let the money go. I'm willing to
Yeah,
let the money go. It's okay,
exactly.
because I don't like it." And I felt like a big baby, to be honest, because every time we're there, I'm like, "This is ridiculous. I'm here at the fields for basically like 5 to 6 hours. It was a 5 to 6 hour run between picking the boys up from school and getting home, and then they're
Well, and
not
you're
getting the right
you're
sleep.
not with your boys.
No,
That's a
no.
hard
Now, I will say
you're just
this,
there.
when one's practicing, I get to pass the ball around or whatever with like, I played soccer back in the day, so we'll pass, we'll shoot, whatever, with the other one, and then it switches, but the truth is once the one practices, he doesn't really wanna keep playing, so it doesn't translate as well. And I don't know, man, 6 hours of just being
Yeah, it's too
out
much.
there and not really seeing any kinda, like, connection and whatnot. It's just that's a fourth of your day, isn't it? That's crazy. I mean, I
Yeah.
sleep that much. That's
I'm
insane.
100% with you on that. We gotta say more so we have more family time. And
Yeah,
you were even saying that, affects their sleep, and then it affects all kinds of stuff, and it can have a ripple effect. So, again, it's just for everybody listening, what a great reminder, like, look at everything that's in your life, and I would say get really intense, man. Get really clear about what needs to be chopped out, and I guess I feel confident with all the guys I've worked with, I feel confident saying the vast majority of men need to say no to more things, and women
totally
too.
agree. Yeah,
Like,
totally
there's
agree.
too many things in your life that's just wasting time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I've heard it said if you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to everything else. Well, if you keep saying yes to a lot of stuff, you're probably starting to say no to all the things that are actually important to you. Right? I mean, that's what's happening is you're saying yes to all the things that your neighbors are doing or the people you're trying to keep up with are doing. You're saying no to actually all the things that in here are saying, I need to be doing this or I need to be doing that. You're saying no to those things. And you'll wake up one day and you'll regret all of that.
Exactly. There's this really cool decision framework. It's like we start on this scale of bad, right? You say no to the bad things so you can say yes to the good things, and that's obvious, right? You're like, okay, yeah, well, I'm not just going to drink myself stupid here because what a waste of life and ruins my family and everything. It's like I'm not doing that. So like I'm gonna say no, and I'm an advocate like no alcohol. Okay, here's my craziness. I don't even drink carbonation, bro. I'm like, no
Oh, dang.
soda. I'm like, I'm not doing any of that. Like, I'm not gonna sit around and drink Mountain Dew. Like, so I'm hardcore. But I'm like, get the junk out. So let's say, okay, it's clearly bad. Don't do that. Now you move to good. This is where it gets more challenging because you start getting good results. You're like, this is really great. But the next step up the scale, it goes from good to better and then from better to best.
Mm,
So at some point, you have to start saying no to good things so you can say yes to better things. And eventually, in the real refinement part, you even end up saying no to better things because there's a few best things. And
yeah,
that's a hard part right there because you look around, you're like, dude, our life is good. Like things are good. This is great. But if you want to keep leveling up, you have to even be more intense and more deliberate about that. It's like, hey, here are these good things. But I know if I say yes to good things, I'm saying no to better and best things.
yeah, totally.
And that's a
That's
tough
totally
scale.
that I think you're right. I think that's people get lost right there. They get lost at the good to better, and very few go from better to best. I think that's a yeah, and, you're whittling down the things like you said, you're whittling down the things you're saying yes to as well, right? That's really what it is. You get down to, I only say yes to, like, 4 things. It's something like that, it's crazy, and then you do when you and I think that this takes a lot of intestinal fortitude because you if you if you do that, you're gonna be weird. You're the weird guy, you know what I mean? Like, you're the guy that when
100%.
you
You're the outside.
yeah, you were on the outside, but again, when you come back to the whole what people look at, what they want, you have the body that they want. You have the finances and and the relationship and the family that most people want. They're just not willing to do the things you do to have what you have, and that's the difference.
Exactly. Dude, you nailed that. And it goes right back to what you were saying before. Like, you want to be like the masses, just keep on that path and you'll get those results. But if you want to be like the masters, contrast the masses and the masters, it's going to be few and you're going to be on the outside and people are looking at you weird, but you will have the results that don't lie.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
they'll come back and go, how did you do that? And you're like, well, back to my daily routines, baby, my
Don't watch what I
habits.
do.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
Love it.
I
Okay,
love
let's
that.
wrap up, bro. That was
Yeah,
fantastic. Thank you.
thank
Um,
you.
you're spot on with all this, and I know you agree. It, gentlemen, it literally comes down to what we're doing day in and day out. Like those are the building blocks for life. That's where the results are earned and kept. We want to do some grandiose thing. We want to be like, oh, this once a year big. It's like, nah, man, bring it back and build it into your daily rhythms. Make it a way of being, and then watch how quickly things turn and move upward towards the life you want to live. It's so powerhouse. So build it into the day or the week and try this replacement thing. If something's in there now, you're like, this isn't serving our family. Replace it with something that will, and right away you'll start feeling a difference. It's so cool. Cool.
That's awesome.
Any last thoughts, brother?
That's fantastic. I love your mind. Such a smart human, such a good guy. So thank you so much for having me on, man,
Well,
for real.
and thanks, well, for what you're doing, what you share. This awesome stuff. Um, what do you let's share again, like, where people can connect with you, and what are you working on? What are you building? How are you
Yeah.
helping dad?
So right now, I have so you can catch me at Dads Don't Babysit. That's where you'd find me on Instagram. I have that on TikTok too, but it's very similar. So a lot of my work is on Instagram. Right now, Jack Nofo and I have been doing a podcast called Dads Against the Narrative. That's really it's been interesting because we started it as a more of a conspiracy podcast where it's like talking about the conspiracy theories that are out there that end up being they end up coming true. So it's not like it's a conspiracy theory anymore. It's like the truth. But
Bro, I'm in this spot where I'm like, yeah, there's no more theories. Like,
yeah, no,
it's just all conspiracy, and it's bad and it's deep.
right? I told him I was like, we need a shirt that's like batting 1,000 since 1863 kind of thing, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
But, at the same time, what I've noticed is that a lot of it comes back to we really are focusing on dads questioning the narrative and creating the narrative for our children in the sense that we're not just gonna sit and just take spoon-fed whatever's given to us, don't believe everything you read or everything you see, question and be the skeptic and be okay with being skeptical because it creates critical thinkers, and then teaching our children to be critical thinkers. And so we kinda come from that line. So it's been interesting to watch. We had Kyle Carnahan on, and it was not about conspiracies at all. It was about fatherhood and the pain of watching your children make decisions and watching them do things that you don't want them to do, and then trying to help them through problems. It was so good. I highly recommend it. But that's been the number one project we've been working on right now. And again, I'm currently in the busy season of my company, so I'm really like, as the sun comes up, I'm like, all right, we're getting ready to head out, and it's go time. So it is literally dusk to dawn to dusk. For the next month, and then it'll die back down. And I live my life in seasons. My whole family knows that this is the season we get into. So when this is over, I'll spend all of December like making Christmas cookies and hanging out with the kids and doing all
Perfect.
that stuff.
Okay, so,
So
well, I
yeah,
gotta bring that to attention, because we get tempted to like, oh, this will just be busy temporarily, and 10 years later, like, yeah, it's, I'm gonna get, no, man, it has to be temporary. When you
yeah,
grind that hard, it has to be temporary, and you have to load up on family before and after.
hmm
So, hearing you say December, like family time, we're
yeah,
baking stuff together, like that's how we refill and redeposit in those relationship accounts.
so
But I
true.
have a
So
curiosity for you. When you're
yeah,
grinding for the next 4 weeks, like super hard, sun up, sundown, how do you stay like healthy and strong with like without burning out? Because burnout's super easy.
yeah. No,
Like
I
how do you
totally
keep
agree.
from collapsing?
Yeah, it's funny because 'cause I'll be on roofs and I'll be like, "Nope, I'll feel tired." Like, I'm to a level where I'll get into a valley and I'll lay there for a second and be like, It's gonna be okay. You're gonna be alright." So there are times where, like, it comes from the CrossFit and from that kinda mindset of just like, "I can do this." Like, these are things I can do. I can do hard things. And, I used to get in the shower, like cold showers, or I'd get in the cold plunge and be like, "We do hard things until they're not hard anymore. We do hard things until," and I'd be like shivering, like, "We could do that." I do the same thing. It's like, just do hard
Love it.
things. I sleep a lot. Like, we basically, like, when I get home, we eat, I, like, put the babies down. It's like that routine is pretty minimal. And then I know, like, last night, this is rare for me, but last night I think I fell asleep with the little guy at, like, maybe 8:30, you know? And so I got a full 8 hours even though I
Perfect.
got up
Yep.
early. So it's you have to really focus on those things to keep from getting sick. Because that's the thing, your body will you that's where burnout hits, right? Burnout hits, and then you get sick, and then it's like your body's like, "No, you didn't shut down, and now I'm shutting you down. We're shutting it down now." And so,
And that
I try to pay attention to that. I take food with me. We will eat here and there out. The guys I work with are like, "Can we go here? Can we go there?" And I'm like, "Sure, whatever," because they ride with me. But I take food with me. So, I mean, I just eat all the stuff that is normal for me to eat anyways, and I think that's a huge deal too. That's a game changer.
that makes a big difference. Getting a
Yeah.
good feeling. And
Yeah.
this is true, obviously, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, like we can get overwhelmed or collapse or sick and all those things if we don't
Yeah.
maintain that stuff. So
It's
spot
totally
on.
true.
All right,
Yeah.
brother. Love it. Thanks, man. Gentlemen, be formidable and be the man.